What if Cleveland trades Shedeur before he ever takes a snap, and nobody's ready for what comes next?
This Instagram post said Bleacher Report proposes a crazy mock trade that will send quarterback Kyler Murray to the Browns in exchange for quarterback Shedeur Sanders, a 2026 third-round pick, and a 2027 second-round pick. The Cleveland Browns may consider acquiring another veteran in 2026. Now,
the Cleveland Browns could be about to make one of the most shocking moves of the season. Reports say the team is preparing to trade Shedeur Sanders to the Arizona Cardinals in exchange for Kyler Murray. After weeks of struggling with Dillon Gabriel and a coach who refuses to make a change, the Browns might finally be ready to shake things up. The deal could also include a 2026 and a 2027 third-round pick. For Cleveland, this move could bring a veteran leader into the locker room and finally give the team the stability it's been missing. But for Shedeur, this could be the fresh start he's been waiting for. If this trade goes through...
Yo, what if I told you that Shedeur Sanders might not even see a single snap in a Browns uniform this season, because Cleveland's already plotting to ship him out before he even gets his chance? That's right. While Dillon Gabriel's out there struggling, looking like he wandered onto an NFL field by accident, the Browns front office is reportedly cooking up something wild. Bleacher Report just dropped a bombshell trade proposal that has the entire league talking. Kyler Murray to Cleveland, Shedeur Sanders to Arizona, plus draft picks flying everywhere. And here's the crazy part. Cleveland media insiders, actual NFL reporters, are saying this isn't just smoke. Jeremy Fowler's already connecting the dots, and Paul Podesta just broke his silence, throwing shade at his old team. This is about to get messy, fam. Let's dive into what's really happening behind closed doors in Cleveland and why Shedeur might be the biggest winner in this whole circus.
They're building around one of them. Now, we know that 2026 quarterbacks just don't look good, guys. I've done videos about it, exposing how bad those 2026 quarterbacks look. And for whatever reason, Cleveland just keeps surrounding themselves with this quarterback carousel. I'm not a Cleveland Browns fan, never have been, doubt if I ever will be.
That can help give Jackson life into the team as well, now that his past. And this is the team going forward, making all focus.
Yeah, I understand the question, Daryl. I don't know how much guys spend time thinking about those type of things. I know it's speculative, and I know there's plenty of news outlets that cover those type of things, and that's what you have to do. But our guys don't spend much time on that. We kind of keep our focus where it is, and so that's the sense I've got from you guys.
The kind of offer that makes you question what you really have and whether you've been wasting it this whole time. Cleveland stood there like someone who didn't realize the diamond in their pocket was priceless until someone else tried to buy it. Because for months now, the Browns have been pretending everything is fine at quarterback.
All right, let me break this down for you, because this story is absolutely wild. The NFL trade deadline has passed, so anything that happens now has to wait until after the season ends. But make no mistake, the whispers are already starting, and they're getting louder by the day. Cleveland media isn't just throwing stuff at the wall anymore. They're reporting actual intel from actual sources, and it's painting a picture that should have every Shedeur Sanders fan paying close attention. So here's what popped up on Instagram, and trust me, this isn't some random fan page making stuff up for clicks. Multiple Cleveland media outlets picked this up and ran with it. The proposal? Kyler Murray heads to the Browns, Shedeur Sanders goes to Arizona, Cleveland throws in a 2026 third-round pick and a 2027 second-round pick to sweeten the deal. On paper, it sounds crazy, but when you start peeling back the layers, when you really think about Cleveland's quarterback situation and what they've been doing for the past decade, this starts making a scary amount of sense. Let's talk about the elephant in the room first. Why would Cleveland even consider this? Simple. The 2026 quarterback draft class is straight up terrible, like historically bad. I've done videos breaking down these prospects, and let me tell you, it's rough out there. There's no franchise-saving quarterback sitting at the top of that draft. There's no generational talent that's going to come in and save Cleveland from itself. So what does that leave them with? Either stick with what they got, or go hunting for a veteran who can step in immediately.
Cleveland just keeps surrounding themselves with this quarterback carousel. I'm not a Cleveland Browns fan, never have been, doubt if I ever will be. I just got to cover Shedeur, and to me, from everything I did research, this is their MO, and going down these.
Now here's where it gets interesting. Cleveland's been riding this quarterback carousel for years, man. Years. They draft guys, they sign guys, they trade for guys, and nothing sticks. It's like they're cursed or something.
And right now, they've got Dillon Gabriel starting games, looking absolutely lost out there, while Shedeur Sanders, the guy who was supposed to be their future, is sitting on the bench watching it all unfold. You're telling me Dillon Gabriel is ready, but Shedeur ain't? Come on, bro. That math ain't mathin'. If Dillon's struggling the way he is, and they won't even give Shedeur a shot, something else is going on behind the scenes. That's where this Kyler Murray angle comes into play. NFL insider Jeremy Fowler dropped some serious intel, and Cleveland media ran with it. Fowler said he's leaning towards Murray not sticking around in Arizona for the 2026 season. Multiple teams are going to have quarterback openings, and he specifically named the Jets and the Browns as potential landing spots. This isn't speculation from some random beat writer. This is Jeremy Fowler, someone with actual connections inside these organizations. Think about what that means for a second. Arizona might be looking to move on from Kyler. Cleveland's desperate for stability at quarterback. Shedeur's sitting there as a young, unproven asset that another team might want to take a flyer on. The pieces are there, the motivation is there, and most importantly, the rumors are coming from legitimate sources, not just fans on Reddit making stuff up.
Now, something else that is coming out of the pipeline is this right here. Now, we all know Paul D. Podesta, the guy that quit on the Cleveland Browns, right? Well, he done had his chance to break his silence, and this brother speaking to the media. Now, I almost made a separate video about this.
But here's the part that really caught my attention. Paul Podesta breaking his silence. For those who don't know, Podesta was Cleveland's guy. He was in the front office, heavily involved in personnel decisions, and then he bounced to Colorado to become their general manager. And in his first press conference with the Rockies, a reporter asked him about the Deshaun Watson trade, which was objectively a disaster for Cleveland, asked him how he could assure Colorado fans that he wouldn't make another mistake like that. And the way he answered that question, that was a masterclass in throwing shade without actually saying names. He said, "I was also calling plays for the Browns." Then he went on about how big decisions are organizational decisions, made collaboratively, and everyone owns them. But the way he said it, the tone in his voice, you could tell there was more to the story. He basically admitted that Cleveland's dysfunction goes deeper than just one bad trade. It's systemic, it's cultural. And that's exactly why Shedeur might be better off getting out of there before it's too late. Now let's talk about what this trade would actually mean for Shedeur, because this is where things get really interesting. On the surface, you might think, man, they're giving up on him already? That's disrespectful. But hold up. Let me flip this for you. What if getting traded to Arizona is actually the best thing that could happen to Shedeur's career? Think about it. Cleveland's offensive line is a disaster. Like, genuinely one of the worst in the league. Even if Shedeur got his chance to play in Cleveland, he'd be running for his life every snap. He'd be getting hit before he could even finish his drop back. That's not how you develop a young quarterback. That's how you ruin one. We've seen it happen over and over again. Talented young quarterbacks getting thrown into terrible situations and never recovering from it.
Plays for the Browns, and look, and I've said this before, I think whenever you have a significant player decision, whether it's trade, big free agent signing, number one draft pick, whatever it is, like those are organizational decisions, right? Those are done collaboratively, like a lot of people on board. And if you're a senior leader of that organization at that time, then you own that decision. I mean,
Arizona, on the other hand, they've got pieces. They've got receivers. They've got a coaching staff that knows how to work with mobile, dynamic quarterbacks because they've been doing it with Kyler for years. And here's the kicker. If Arizona's looking to move on from Kyler, that means they're ready to rebuild around someone new, someone younger, someone they can mold into their system. That could be Shedeur. Imagine Shedeur in Arizona's offense, the weapons he'd have around him, the scheme that would actually play to his strengths, the opportunity to be the guy from day one instead of sitting behind someone or constantly looking over his shoulder. That's the kind of situation that turns good quarterbacks into great ones. That's the kind of situation that launches careers. But even beyond the football stuff, think about the narrative. Shedeur's been dealing with this weird situation in Cleveland where he's not playing, nobody's really explaining why, and fans are starting to get restless. Some people are wondering if maybe he's not as good as advertised. Some people are questioning whether he's actually NFL ready. A fresh start in Arizona wipes all that away. New team, new coaching staff, new expectations. He gets to prove himself all over again, but this time in an environment that's actually set up for him to succeed. And let's be real. Cleveland's track record with quarterbacks is abysmal. Name one quarterback they've developed successfully in the last 20 years. Oh, wait. You can't do it because it hasn't happened. This is an organization that destroys quarterbacks. It's in their DNA at this point. So if you're Shedeur, if you're his agent, if you're anyone who cares about his long-term career, you're probably looking at this trade proposal and thinking, yeah, actually, let's make this happen. Now, I know what some of y'all are thinking, but Johnny, they're trading him away without even giving him a real shot. That's disrespectful. And look, I get it. There's part of me that wants to see Shedeur prove everyone wrong in Cleveland. Part of me wants to see him get his opportunity, ball out, and shut up all the doubters. But sometimes the situation matters more than the opportunity. Sometimes getting out of a bad situation is the best move you can make, even if it feels like you're running away.
Cleveland's dysfunction runs deep, man. This is the same organization that gave Deshaun Watson $230 million fully guaranteed and now can't figure out what to do with him. The same organization that keeps cycling through coaches and general managers and quarterbacks like they're trying to find a winning lottery ticket. The same organization that Paul Podesta just subtly threw under the bus in his first press conference with a new team. That's not where you want to develop a young quarterback. That's not where you want to build a career. So yeah, this trade might actually be a blessing in disguise for Shedeur. It gets him out of Cleveland's mess. It puts him in a situation where he can actually showcase his talents. And it gives him a legitimate shot to be a franchise quarterback instead of just another name on Cleveland's long list of quarterbacks who didn't work out. But here's the thing. Nothing's guaranteed yet. This is still just a proposal, still just a rumor, still just something being talked about in front offices and media circles. The season has to end first. Then the real negotiations start. Then we'll see if Arizona's actually willing to part with Kyler. Then we'll see if Cleveland's actually willing to admit they made a mistake by not playing Shedeur earlier. Then we'll see if Shedeur's camp is even interested in going to Arizona or if they'd rather wait for a better opportunity somewhere else. That's what makes this whole situation so fascinating. There are so many moving pieces, so many variables, so many people with different agendas. Cleveland wants stability. Arizona wants youth. Shedeur wants opportunity. Kyler wants respect. And somewhere in the middle of all that, there's a deal that might actually make sense for everyone involved. The next few months are going to be wild, fam. Keep your eyes on Cleveland media, keep your eyes on Arizona media, keep your eyes on what Jeremy Fowler and other NFL insiders are saying, because if this trade actually happens, it's going to change the trajectory of multiple franchises. It's going to define careers. And it might just prove that sometimes the best thing that can happen to a young quarterback is getting out of a bad situation before it's too late.
Now let's talk about the bigger picture here, because this isn't just about one trade. This is about how the NFL works, how young quarterbacks get developed, and why situation matters just as much as talent. We've seen this story play out before, and it almost never ends well for the quarterback stuck in dysfunction. Go back and look at the history of quarterbacks drafted into terrible situations. Look at guys like David Carr in Houston, who got absolutely destroyed behind a terrible offensive line and never recovered. Look at guys like Josh Rosen, who bounced around multiple teams because he kept landing in places that had no idea how to develop him. Look at guys who had all the talent in the world but never got a fair shot because their organization was a mess. That's the path Shedeur's on right now in Cleveland if something doesn't change. But here's where the Shedeur situation is different from those other guys. He hasn't played yet. His tape in Cleveland is clean. He hasn't been exposed to the dysfunction on game day. He hasn't had the chance to fail publicly. And in the weird backwards logic of the NFL, that actually makes him more valuable in a trade. Arizona would be getting a quarterback with legitimate draft pedigree, a famous name, and no bad NFL tape to evaluate. That's exactly the kind of low-risk, high-reward gamble that teams make all the time. Think about what Arizona sees when they look at Shedeur. They see a quarterback who grew up in football royalty. They see someone who's been around the game his entire life, who understands the mental side of playing quarterback at the highest level. They see someone who played in big games at Colorado under Deion Sanders, handling pressure and expectations that most college quarterbacks never experience. They see tools, arm strength, mobility, football IQ that translate to the NFL. And most importantly, they see someone who's still hungry, still trying to prove himself, still desperate for that opportunity to show what he can do. That hunger matters more than people realize. Kyler Murray, for all his talent, has already gotten paid. He's already proven he can play in the NFL. He's already accomplished a lot of what he set out to accomplish. There's nothing wrong with that. He earned every penny of his contract. But when you're a rebuilding team, sometimes you want someone who's still fighting for respect, still trying to make a name for himself, still willing to do whatever it takes to prove he belongs. That's Shedeur right now. And here's another angle that nobody's really talking about, the financial aspect of this trade. Kyler Murray is expensive, really expensive. He's got a massive contract that's eating up a huge chunk of Arizona's salary cap. Shedeur, on the other hand, is on a rookie deal. If Arizona can get comparable production from a quarterback making a fraction of what Kyler makes, That frees up so much money to build around him. They can upgrade the offensive line. They can bring in weapons. They can strengthen the defense. That's how you build a championship roster in the modern NFL, by getting value at the quarterback position while paying everyone else. Cleveland gets an established veteran in Kyler who can step in immediately and at least give them competent quarterback play. They're not winning championships with their current roster anyway, so why not bring in someone who can manage games and not turn the ball over? And if Kyler doesn't work out, guess what? They can move on from him too. That's the beauty of trading away a young quarterback who hasn't played yet. You're not giving up on anyone who's proven they can't do it. You're just admitting that maybe the fit isn't right. Maybe the timing isn't right. Maybe it's better for everyone to move on. But let's bring this back to Shedeur, because that's who we're really here to talk about. The kid deserves better than what Cleveland's giving him right now. He deserves a real opportunity to play. He deserves to be in a system that believes in him. He deserves to have coaches and executives who are invested in his development, not just looking at him as a trade chip or a backup plan. And honestly, the fact that Cleveland's even entertaining trade talks before giving him a real shot tells you everything you need to know about how they view him. If they really believed Shedeur was their franchise quarterback, if they really thought he was the answer to all their problems, they wouldn't be having conversations about trading him for Kyler Murray. They'd be building around him. They'd be giving him reps. They'd be doing everything possible to set him up for success. But that's not what's happening. Instead, they're starting Dillon Gabriel, who's clearly not the answer. Instead, they're leaking trade proposals to the media. Instead, they're keeping Shedeur on the bench while the season slips away. That's not how you treat a quarterback you believe in. That's how you treat a quarterback you're already planning on moving on from. So yeah, if I'm Shedeur, if I'm his agent, if I'm his dad looking out for his future, I'm pushing for this trade to happen. I'm pushing to get out of Cleveland before they ruin another young quarterback's career. I'm pushing to go to Arizona where there's a real opportunity, a real system, and real weapons to work with. Because at the end of the day, your first few years in the NFL define your entire career. You don't get many chances to make a first impression. And Shedeur's first impression shouldn't be getting sacked 10 times a game behind Cleveland's terrible offensive line. The NFL is a business, and sometimes the business decision is the right decision. Cleveland moves on from a quarterback who wasn't going to play anyway. Arizona gets younger and cheaper at the position. Shedeur gets his shot in a better situation. Kyler gets a fresh start in a new city. Everybody wins. That's the beauty of a trade like this when it actually makes sense for all parties involved. Now, will it actually happen? That's the million-dollar question. There's a lot of smoke right now, but smoke doesn't always turn into fire. Teams talk about trades all the time that never materialize. Reporters hear things that never come to fruition. But the fact that this is being discussed seriously, the fact that Cleveland media is reporting on it, the fact that NFL insiders like Jeremy Fowler are connecting these dots, that means something. That means there's at least a kernel of truth to all this. The next few months are going to tell us everything we need to know. Will Cleveland give Shedeur a real opportunity before the season ends? Will Arizona actually commit to moving on from Kyler? Will other teams get involved and try to make their own offers? Will Shedeur's camp push for this trade or push to stay in Cleveland and compete? There are so many questions that still need to be answered. But here's what I know for sure. Shedeur Sanders is too talented to waste away on Cleveland's bench. He's too good to be treated like an afterthought. And if this trade to Arizona is what it takes to get him on the field and give him a real shot at success, then let's make it happen. Because at the end of the day, we all want to see what Shedeur can really do when given a fair opportunity. And Cleveland ain't giving him that opportunity. Arizona might. What do y'all think about this trade? Would Shedeur be better off in Arizona, or should he stick it out in Cleveland and wait for his chance? Drop your thoughts in the comments below because I want to hear what y'all are thinking. Is this the best move for Shedeur's career, or is Cleveland making a huge mistake by even considering trading him? Let's talk about it. And if you made it this far, do me a favor, smash that subscribe button and hit the notification bell. We're covering every twist and turn of Shedeur's journey, and trust me, this story is far from over. The drama's just getting started, and you don't want to miss what happens next. Until next time, keep your eyes on the pipeline. This is about to get real interesting. Peace!